Hey everybody, happy hump day. Okay, this is a video that I know not everyone watches all of my videos, or not everyone watches the entirety of the videos, but this is one video that I'm gonna ask everyone to watch the entire thing because I think it is very, very important for almost 700 people in this group to understand. And the information that's gonna be in this video can truly change your life, but your family's life, your loved ones' lives. And this is just super important topic, okay? So we're gonna talk about blood glucose, okay? This is a problem that is present in more people than you understand. And just because you don't have anyone in your family that has diabetes or you've never been officially diagnosed with it doesn't mean that you won't end up diabetic, okay? Now, the standard American diet, which I actually just looked on the American Diabetic Association, and they still recommend the standard American diet to stay away from saturated and trans fats and whatnot. And so this is where I just tell you, look, you figure out what works best for you, but I have seen so many people reverse their pre-diabetes or diabetes. So let's start with the first thing. Fasting blood glucose. So fasting blood glucose is the blood glucose that you take first thing in the morning after you've woken up, before you've drank anything, water or anything. You take your blood glucose. Now, the level that we want it is between about 70 to 100. Now, I would like it to be not close to 100. I would like it to be closer in the 80s, all right? But officially speaking, we don't start to worry about you until that fasting glucose is over 100, okay? Now, the number between 100 and 126, and it's arbitrary. So honestly, if you're anywhere over 100 in fasting glucose, you should consider yourself pre-diabetic, all right? And I'm gonna tell you that because I want to invoke fear in you for a good reason, because oftentimes we need to be fearful before we actually act and do stuff to change our current situation. And you guys, you have no idea how long you've been walking around pre-diabetic. And so while you're walking around with these elevated blood glucose, you have damage happening on every single organ system. So if your fasting blood glucose is between 100 to 126 in the morning, you, my friend, are officially pre-diabetic. Now, that being said, if you don't have that on your medical records, I wouldn't go announcing that, because unlike Western medicine, I believe that diabetes type 2 is completely reversible, okay? Conventional medicine versus holistic medicine. Conventional medicine will never tell you that you will be cured of diabetes. Holistic medicine believes that you can cure it. But the fact is that if you cure it with natural remedies by changing your nutrition, your everything. But if you go back to your lifestyle that led you to the pre-diabetic stage, yes, you can go back to being pre-diabetic and then diabetic. And I want you guys to understand that. It's all on a spectrum, okay? If your fasting blood glucose is over 126, you are officially in a range that we get worried and we're starting to call you diabetic, okay? Now, if you are one of those people, do not fear, okay? Because again, I 100% believe that every single one of you can reverse this phenomenon. I will recognize the dawn phenomenon in just a little bit, because there are some of you that are not officially pre-diabetic. You are not diabetic, but you still have higher than normal blood glucoses in the morning. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit. Another test, which I required everyone to get before getting into this group, was a hemoglobin A1C. And so that is the number that basically shows on average what your blood glucose has been for the past few months, okay? So the number, if you look at your labs, that it's labeled as HB1AC. Hemoglobin A1C, okay? It's usually given in a percent. The reference range, we would like you to be less than 5.7. So anywhere between 4 and 5.7, you are good. You are normal, okay? Now, anywhere between 5.7% and 6.5% you're pre-diabetic. So that means that you're on the road to becoming diabetic. Anything above 6.5, you are officially diabetic, all right? Now, that being said, again, I 100% believe that every single one of you that have a hemoglobin A1C that is higher than normal, you can reverse it. Okay, so we've got hemoglobin A1C, we've got fasting blood glucose. Now, what about the blood glucoses during the day? So here's the deal. What I would recommend doing is taking your blood glucose right before you eat. Normal, and that's still fasting, right? Because we're all intermittent fasting, so I don't break my fast until about 11 or 12, so I will take my blood glucose right before I start to eat. It should be less than 100, all right? If it is over 100, then you start to worry about the pre-diabetes and whatnot. Now, if you are, so what I would do in this time period, because remember, 12 weeks, I know it sounds like a long time, but really it's just a hiccup in time. I want you guys to be recording this every single day, especially if you are on the borderline. If you already know that you're not pre-diabetic and you don't have to worry about it, this is you shouldn't be doing this. I mean, you can just to get an idea what your blood glucose is doing, but the people that I really want to be tracking your data are the ones that are borderline or already diabetic, okay? Now, postprandial. So let's say that I break my fast at 11 a.m. So I'm gonna take my blood glucose right before I break my fast, and then I'm going to set an alarm for 2 hours later, okay? Now, if my blood glucose is less than 140, I'm good. For diabetics, it's supposed to be less than 180, okay? Now, is there a point to check your blood glucose all throughout the day? No, because that gives you just literally a snapshot of in time. And just because at certain times after you've eaten, your blood glucose is gonna be over 100. That seems to be the point that people worry about, right? But the fact is that this is your body's hormonal system getting everything regulated and whatnot. I do want to address low blood glucose, okay? They say that it's below 70 that you should worry. I'm of the mindset that symptoms speak the most. And I have actually tested my blood glucose and I've been 55 and I had 0 symptoms and I felt good. So if you have symptoms of shakiness, sweating, confusion, lightheadedness, dizziness, all of those could be symptoms of low blood glucose. And if you have those symptoms, then you need to break your fast. And I understand that you agreed to do the intermittent fasting, but that particular day, you need to break your fast. If you're in that fasting window, okay? You have to listen to your body. This is all about getting in tune with your body and the signals that it gives you, okay? Now, those of you, so there are some of you that have been working on your insulin resistance for, no kidding, decades, okay? Now, are you doomed? No, you can reverse it, but it's gonna take you longer to reverse your insulin resistance than it would take someone who's only been working with insulin resistance for a few years. Hopefully that makes sense. And that leads me to talk about the dawn effect. So the dawn effect is seen when you have unusually unexpected high blood glucose in the morning, fasting time. So our body has this completely normal rhythmic pattern of releasing certain hormones at certain times of day, and it's all in this nice orchestra, right? And most of us, that orchestra sounds like the orchestra before it starts, like it's all tuning, because all those hormones are just not playing at the same times that they're supposed to, right? So when our body is in full check, my low glucose numbers in the 50s are no longer in the 70s now. I think my body has switched over to fat burning rather than glucose. Yay, Melissa. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, Karen. So you're a great example of you and your hypoglycemia. So I'll get back to dawn effect in a little bit, but since Karen brought this up. So Karen is one who literally was dealing with insulin resistance for decades. And so she has been on a health and fitness journey for the last, 5 or 6 years. And she went from being a morbidly obese individual to being completely a healthy individual. But she still struggles with hypoglycemic episodes where she does get symptoms. That being said, this is the slow progress of her body getting all of the hormones back to normal. And it doesn't happen overnight. And like I said, the longer that you have been living in an insulin resistant state, the longer it takes you to get back to normal regulation of blood glucose. Because when your hormones are working in a perfect orchestra, you won't be getting hypoglycemic episodes where you are symptomatic, okay? Now, going back to dawn effect. So the dawn effect is a result of 4 different hormones that are naturally released in the morning, okay? Growth hormone, which we already heard Melissa talk about once, and you're going to hear us talk about growth hormone a lot, okay? Growth hormone, adrenaline, cortisol, and glucagon. Now, glucagon is the hormone that basically is like the yin to the yang of insulin, okay? So your pancreas is the organ that spits out insulin and glucagon. And they're kind of like in perfect harmony. So insulin does one act and glucagon does the exact opposite. So at about 4 a.m., your body is getting you ready to naturally wake up. And so it gives you all of these hormones. It gives you basically a pulse of these 4 hormones: growth hormone, adrenaline, cortisol, and glucagon. And it brings sugar out of your liver into the bloodstream, okay? Because so we have 2 places that we store sugar, right? As glycogen. Glycogen is a word that you're going to hear me talk about a lot, and you're going to feel like you're going to be an MD after this. I'll just tell you that. Glycogen is stored in your liver and in your muscles, okay? And so these 4 hormones that are pulsed at about 4 a.m. to get you ready to wake up naturally, the diurnal patterns, they basically get the liver storage of glycogen to spit out energy in glucose form, okay? Now, that being said, there's some of us that have an excess not capacity, but a lot. We have what's called fatty liver, and that is from insulin resistance building up. And if you want to think of it like a balloon that's over inflated, and so the overinflated balloon, when you release it, it's going to release a little bit more than normal. Of course, everyone texts me when I go live broadcast. So the dawn effect essentially is found in people that are not officially pre-diabetic, not diabetic. It can be seen in both, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And as time goes by, the dawn effect actually will subside the longer that you are living this particular lifestyle. So hopefully that makes sense. But what I want to do is I want to empower you, because diabetes, you don't get any symptoms until it's almost too late, because once you start getting symptoms, those symptoms are not reversible, okay? There were some tests I've not put in at the website as not sure, message you those I'm unsure of. Carrie, that's okay. So I will eventually go over all of the labs in which I created the list of required and then decreasing importance, right? And I'll eventually go over all of those, because there's some geeks in here that want to know about all of those and how they affect our body and whatnot. There will be plenty of people that will have zero desire to listen to me talk about it, and I'm okay with that. But the blood glucose is something that I really want you guys to understand big time. Try Smooth Move Tea by Tradition. What? I missed that conversation. Let's see. Totally off topic, but so is it okay if you can't understand, still struggling with going to the bathroom, using magnesium, Epsom salt, bath water? So Kayla, this is something that I want you guys to realize. Your body is still in a transition. So just because you've been eating awesome and healthy whole foods, high fat, low carb for 9 days, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden your body's going to function perfectly. And the constipation, it's something that you want to make sure that you are doing everything in your power, but also just be patient with the process. I know it's uncomfortable, but make sure that you are getting enough fiber. There's here, I actually have the fiber supplement. This fiber supplement was actually recommended by Dr. Mark Hyman in his Eat Fat Get Thin. That was one of the books that we recommended. It's called PGX. Let me show you what it looks like. This is, and I got it on Amazon. Can you see it? PGX. Boom. Yeah. It's made by WellBet X. And this is actually the brand that Dr. Mark Hyman recommends. But that is a great source of fiber. Might be the missing link for you, because there's a lot of fiber supplements that are just crap, that have crap ingredients. So you have to be careful with that. So once a diabetic has neuropathy, it can't be, Lainey, yeah, no, what the neuropathy is, it's basically the long-term damage of those nerves, those nerve sheaths not getting enough blood flow because of the chronic decreased blood flow from a diabetic. So the neuropathy can't be reversed, but you know, why not try and disprove me? Because I mean, truly, I just yesterday I talked with someone who has intraocular pressure issues, and she was like, I've noticed that my eye doesn't bother me as much. Could that be related? And honestly, I'm learning things about the body on a regular basis. Melissa, 0.5 or more means you're in ketosis. Oh, did someone ask about ketosis? Can you talk about dawn effect and hypoglycemia? Mary, Diana, I already did, so just watch this from the beginning again. Did someone, okay, what blood ketone measurement indicates you are in ketosis? I meant one. Okay, so Melissa, you are in ketosis for sure. Nutritional ketosis is officially between 0.5 and 1, and then anything above 1, some experts say 1.3, but you're officially in the nutritional ketosis range for sure. So, okay, any other questions before I get going? I want to make sure, I know that some of you guys hopped on here late, and I want to make sure that everyone understands this very, very clearly, because the blood glucose is just basically a symptom of what your insulin is doing, and that this is the key to losing weight, guys, is getting your insulin in check. Insulin is the hormone that is at the root of so many people's weight problems, and if we can get that insulin in check, then you're gonna not just lose weight, but all your other hormones are gonna be much happier as well. So hopefully that helps. And I will see you guys tomorrow to get make sure that you have your lipid panel ready to roll. Acid reflux and heartburn have a bunch right now. You might need some digestive enzymes, Melissa. The digestive enzymes, here, I'll actually post an article. There's a good article that I will post about digestive enzymes, because oftentimes and we're going to talk next week. We're going to talk about gut dysbiosis and gut health, essentially, because I think there's a lot of us that have gut health issues, and acid reflux is definitely one of those symptoms that can come from that. What's the difference between nutritional and, honestly, Rose? There's not much of a difference. It's what you want is your body to go into that fat burning mode, and whether you're in nutritional ketosis or full-blown ketosis, you're going into fat-burning mode. Still trying to get my results. I'm still waiting on results. So frustrated. Hopefully, yeah, I would definitely call your labs if you still haven't gotten results. That's a little frustrating. So, okay, guys. Anything else before I go? Burn, baby, burn. All right, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow night, same time, same place, to talk about your lipids. All right, bye.